Hey y'all, welcome to season 4 of Tribe Talk Tuesdays. I am Kiera, also known as Cookie, the owner of Divinely Her, Healing, Elevating, and Renewing.
Yes, y'all, and I am Brittany Nurse Britt, the founder of Empower Women Fitness and Wellness Center, empower women all over the world.
Yes, and today we have the pleasure of getting to have this special young queen join us today. If you don't mind introducing yourself and letting our guests know who you are.
So my name is Mecaela. I am from Jersey. I'm an all thing lover of family, faith, fitness, anything that has me smile, makes me have fun. I'm just excited to share my story. I'm grateful to be asked and honored to be here and just ready to hop into it.
Yes,
y'all. So get ready for our episode.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. So we're back again for another season of Tribe Talk Tuesdays. And today, as stated, we have Mecaela here with us. So, Mecaela, the first question we'd like to ask you is, what does healing look like to you?
Whew. Okay, so first of all, I'll start off by saying healing has multiple parts. It doesn't look one way for a person, and it also doesn't look one way daily for that person. Sometimes healing looks like, for me, a good cry. I always say crying is my favorite form of self-care. Just because we're beings of water. So what happens when water don't move? It stagnates. So I feel like a good cry just gets everything moving, gets everything flowing. Journaling, writing things down. I truly believe that you should be able to put your thoughts into 3 categories. Things that you tell yourself, like you talk about, meditate with yourself, things that you can share with others, and then things that only go to God. So
I like that.
Journaling, and I feel like you mature as you master what thoughts go in which category. Because, I used to be the type of person that as soon as something happened, I had to run to go somebody else and get validation from them about what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through. And it's like, sometimes you just need to sit on those thoughts. Sometimes you need to sit on something because you may feel some way right now. An hour later, you might not feel that way no more. Right. So, so that's the second thing. And then prayer, just staying connected, because prayer is literally just declaring the word. So it's not begging for something. It's not asking for something. Because if you believe that God is who he say he is, he's going to do what he said he's going to do.
I know that's right.
Right? So, prayer is just declaring back to him what he already said to me. And that's how I encourage myself, just to keep going every single day.
I love that. Yes. I love that so much. So with your own healing journey, how do you think, or how do you feel that has led you to the place and space that you're at today in the work that you do today?
Well, I guess it's helpful to explain what caused the healing journey. So I want to say from 2017 to 2021, every year I experienced a loss. So I lost my child first, and then my husband was in a car accident and I lost him. My dog was also in that car accident, so I always skip that part. But that was my little family, me, my husband, and my dog. Lost the dog. Then my brother died, height of pandemic. And then I found out I had breast cancer. So it was back to back, punch. You get up and it's knockout. And it was just things just kept coming. I didn't have time to grieve. Right. I would be like, oh, I'm good, I'm okay. And then something else happened and it's another weight was just attached on top of me. So there was a period of time where I was very dark. I used to always say how could somebody commit suicide? But when I was in that dark space, I understood why it could be an option. It was never an option for me. But I understood how it could be someone's option because you just feel like you're swimming and you're drowning. You want to get up. You know you should get up. You know that getting up is the right thing to do. But it's just I can't. Right. And I feel like I had to do something. I knew that there was something that I should have done. And RIP TikTok, but I went to TikTok. It's so funny. I told myself I'm going to do TikTok for 90 days. Shout out to my mentor. She's the queen of 90-day plans. Doing something for 90 days. Of course.
Shout out, Chef.
She is the queen of doing something for 90 days. Yes, and I was just all right, I'm going to make a TikTok every day for 90 days. And the reason why I chose TikTok is number one, because people who get depressed, that you don't want to get up. You don't want to get dressed. You don't want to clean your room. You don't want to be bothered. And after my husband died, for 7.5 months, I didn't do laundry because he did our laundry. So laundry was never on my radar. Right. I didn't know when I needed to do laundry. I just knew I always had clothes.
Right.
Because he did that. He folded the clothes. He did that. So after he passed away, at first I forgot about it. But then I realized, like, oh, me doing the laundry is something that he did. So then I avoided it.
Right.
So every Sunday, I would go buy new clothes, new underclothes, some tights, like, everything I needed for 7.5 months. So I accumulated a lot of stuff. So I was like, all right, if I do a TikTok every day, it's going to force me to get up because I gotta move. And this is when the dances was like, I'm a stallion. So like, I was like, okay, it's going to force me to get up. I'm going to have to get presentable. So that means I got to get in the shower. I got to get dressed because I'm not about to put myself on social media looking crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to force me to think about something else because now I got to remember what I'm doing. So now I'm not thinking about what I'm going through. I'm thinking about this activity that I'm doing. And then I'm like, I can enroll other people in it so that I'm not doing it alone. So I told once you tell social media you're doing something, they're going to hold you to it.
Exactly.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it for 90 days. So I did it for the first 90 days. And I was like, I completed it. And everybody was like, do 90 more. And I was like, what? Y'all are crazy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I started shifting. I started feeling better. And after 180 days, that's 6 months.
Right.
I'm like, I might as well make this thing a year.
Right.
So I did literally 365 days of TikTok. And that pulled me out of depression. It made me smile again. It made me happy. It made me connect with so many women that was dealing with what I was dealing with. And I always say that I know now I went through all of those things for access. Like, I could reach more people with the story that I have. Like, if my message is to let people know that they can recover,
Exactly.
I had to experience losing a child, losing a spouse, losing a sibling, losing a pet, losing my breasts, losing my corporate job. Like, I have an entire podcast about loss and how you recover from it.
Wow.
And I'm grateful now for what I went through because I can access more people. Because, like, somebody who didn't lose a child and they lost a husband, like, they're like, oh yeah, that works for losing a husband, but that ain't gonna work for losing a child. It's like, I did that too.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that too. And I'm just grateful that, God allowed me to use what I went through just for access to spread the message.
Yes.
I think that is so, like, amazing, right? So, first of all, because I didn't know your story, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen you. I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know who you are, but so I'm like, so first and foremost, thank you for just being honest and transparent and vulnerable, and still being, like Cook said, just showing up powerfully, because I think I didn't know about the breast cancer. I didn't know about that, but everything else I didn't know about. So to actually still show up in the spaces that I've seen you in is very powerful. Secondly, being able to, when you talk about like sharing your story, right? And I was at an event yesterday, and I was amongst like a lot of powerhouse full of women, right? And in that space, I had to share like a little bit, and I'm like the person who is like, I only share what I want you to know about me, if that makes sense. Unless you're like in my personal circle, then you know, like, you know everything about me, right? And as like being in, like, even on our podcast, or just being into just empowering women, that's something that I struggle with, is like sharing my story with like other people, you know what I mean? Or I guess like people who don't know me, in the sense of not of a shame, but of just like, I'm still like struggling, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, and I realized that yesterday, because I was like, every time I'm around these group of powerful women, I love being around them, but it just makes me like crumble. And I'm like, that's because, and so that's something I was thinking about sitting with today. But I really think it was just like, because you're not like, Rich, you're not sharing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have all this stuff bottled up in you. That other people need to hear, you know what I'm saying? Because you never know, like, whose life you're changing, who you're inspiring, or like you said, like, yeah, I've been through that too. You know what I mean? So, and letting people know that you've overcome. So I'm like, you're not sharing. So what is your problem?
Well, first, it's not a problem, right?
Well, not a problem. What's the barrier?
Right.
Like, what's holding you back from sharing? Because, you know, and like I said, because I know that, like, I'm still like growing and trying to I guess, develop and blossom from what I'm going through. So I could be able to share. But I'm like, girl, soft and drugstore cotton. Like, I'm like,
well, you gotta just start small.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, the more I share, the less I have to carry. So
like
it feels heavy because you're holding it in,
yeah,
right? So if I give it away, if somebody else is carrying it with me now. So I just keep sharing and keep sharing.
Wow.
I just keep sharing because like at number, for the, I'm giving it away. So it's not as heavy for me anymore. And then like there's a possibility that somebody could use it. Yeah. Like it could benefit somebody else too. Yeah. So it just helps. My mom is like, you share too much. Oh my gosh. As soon as I get on Facebook, you telling everybody that I'm like, but you don't know how many people are sending me messages in my DMs like, thank you so much for sharing. Mm-hmm. Like, and they're just like, I'm so grateful that you had the courage to do this. Like, I think about those TikToks when I was just like using trends to talk about breast cancer. It's still people 4 years later that are like, I'm about to have that surgery. Thank you so much for this video. Like, you're encouraging me. Mm-hmm. And I'm still like helping people like, yeah, girl, keep going. And it's like, that's a video that I made for Play in 2021. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's just my encouragement is, just share because you won't have to carry it anymore. I know, it won't be so heavy.
Yes, I definitely agree. I think my problem, which you were mentioning earlier, is I overshared a lot. And when I say overshared with the wrong people. Mm-hmm. So like how you said, learning to not go to other people just to get the validation and having my few select people of who I can go to. And I still even struggle with that, like learning the balance of that, of going to the select people, because at the same time, I also know that other people are going through their own things as well too. So I don't want to be the type of person to dump on people if I know that the people in my circle are going through things as well. So, but at the same, one of the other things I did want to commend you on is that Dawn just mentioned it. It's relatable to people. So when they see that online, and they hear somebody else they're going through the same thing that I'm going through, it makes it like, okay, if she can do it, if she can show up and still be who she is to this day, even through her grief and her pain, I can do it too, right? So I love seeing things like that. I love hearing things like that because it also provides validation for me in that aspect, that it's okay to be able not to give everybody on social media everything, but just enough to encourage them, and give them a little hope and motivation, or as Britt would say, empowerment. Pretty
much. And I really like when she said the categories, like putting your thoughts in different categories. Like that was powerful too, because it's so funny because when I was driving earlier today, so somebody asked me like when my mom was transitioning, right? And they were like, well, how were you so calm? And I realized in the midst of like her transition, I understood what was the saying of like finding peace in the middle of chaos, right? And I really found peace in the middle of the chaos because it was chaotic, and like it was chaotic. But I realized that because I had to sit with a lot of things, I think, you know what I'm saying? Like as the transition was going on, I still had to like sit with my thoughts, sit with my emotions, sit with the reality of what it would look like after the transition, if that makes sense. So, so the other day I was like, well, yeah, guy, can I get back to that? Because I'm to be honest, I was really at peace. And not to say that I'm not, but sometimes we have turbulence. And I feel like at this moment in life, like, I have some turbulence, and I'm like, I just want that peace in the middle of chaos. Like I was like I moved off of like logic, even, and I'm very emotional. Like I'm like, I don't, y'all know.
let's not talk about emotions, okay?
I'm very emotional. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not impulsive, but I'm emotional. But and I didn't move off of emotion. I moved off of logic. And I think in that moment in my life, I was like really proud of myself because I was like, okay, big girl.
You made it.
Yes. But that's important. I think that's important, and I think that's something that, like you said, that needs to be shared, and that's something that I'm going to share. I think with others of like putting your emotions in different categories. You know what I mean? Like you said, everything. Though some things we just want. We're gonna just take it to God. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking to anybody about this. I'm talking to God about this. You know what I mean? Some things I'm a journal, and some things that I'm gonna just call my girlfriends up for. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I thought that was dope. I thought that was really dope. Thank you. Like, okay, time to practice. Add on to the list.
Yes, we always learn something coming out of these interviews that we do with people, and that's definitely something that I think we would value to take with us and apply it in our life. Awesome. So how Britt just mentioned, that she's still struggling with things. Do you still find moments that even though you worked to heal from those things, that sometimes it may come back up?
Oh, girl, every day. Every day I'm annoyed with my own self. Like, because I'm like, you've made progress. Why are you back here? But you have to like remember that I've only gone through this healing journey for like the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm 35. So that meant 31 years I wasn't operating like that.
Right.
I always say that. Yeah.
So it's like, it's going to take me time, repeated behaviors over and over again to get back to doing who I know myself to be now, because I always haven't been that person.
Right.
And I think that's why I always stand in like, you don't have to be who you wound up being. Because so many people are committed to being who they wound up being. Like, this is just who I am. And it's like, that's cool, but you don't gotta be that. Like, you don't gotta be rude and mean and nasty because you've always been rude and mean and nasty. Like, you can decide right now that you don't want to do that no more.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I always find myself back in those spaces where I'm operating in the unhealed me or my trauma me.
Yeah.
Because it's comfortable there. Like, you already know. But like, even just getting real with myself. Like, I had a friendship with a best friend who just randomly stopped talking to me. And if I want to like stay on my high horse, I could be like, she just stopped talking to me. I don't know why. But in my growth and healing, I could recognize some things that I was doing that would make someone not want to be my friend no more.
Right.
I wish that she would have had the conversation with me instead of just cutting me off, because I'm the type of person that's willing to take accountability for.
Right.
Like, if you brought it to me and said that I was doing something, that I would have made the change. But maybe it needed to happen that way for me to do the reflective work to even figure it out. So, I still find spaces and times where I'm not operating and I gotta like, just the other day, I had to tell my chat GPT to get me together. And she clocked my tea. Like, she was like,
that's not it. She might not be like this.
Listen, she was like, you operating slow like an old Windows 98 computer. Your gym membership is collecting dust. Hey. And she read me for filth, and I've closed all 3 rings ever since. Like, so I still have my moments where I'm just like, not willing to do nothing, don't want to grow, but it's like, I know better.
Right.
So it's like, when you know better, you got to do better. So.
Yes. Yeah. That reminds me of the saying, like, being in Herbalife, hearing that the old you is no longer welcome here. And sometimes I do have to remind myself that, especially if I feel the old me creeping back up. And I definitely felt that the other day myself, where I got a phone call and my heart literally dropped. And I went back. I'm a worrier. I'm an overthinker. So I instantly started doing the things that I know that I hadn't done in a while, and I worked myself to get out of. And I had to literally take a breath and be like, okay, it can't be fixed right now.
Right.
So worry about it when you can worry about it, and finish doing what you need to do, because if not, you're going to stay in this for the rest of the night and not do what you need to do.
Nothing will get done. Right.
So it's always like that reminder of the work that, like you said, it was 30 some years for all of us that we were taught this way, or we grew up a certain way. And then when we came into a space where we learned new ways to think, new ways to deal with things and handle things, it's hard. Right. It's a hard experience. But once you learn how to become better at dealing with those things and handling a lot better, you can always remind yourself, like, you did the work. So just always stay in that work,
Because otherwise it's a choice not to.
It is. Yeah.
It's a choice.
It's like now you're choosing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to choose this or you want to choose that? Oh, what's your heart?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to do what you're supposed to do. It's also going to be hard to be stuck where you at, too.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, no, it's
Yeah.
definitely.
And you know,
great.
they always say like the enemy is the enemy. So it's like, it's already like negative is natural. Like that's just the way the world is. It's not ideal, but negative is natural. You could list the things that you don't like before you could list the things that you like. You could list the things that I'm not before you can list the things that I am. So like you have to like on positive choose, you know, on purpose choose the positive because it's just easy to go to the negative. So you gotta force yourself to be better.
Ooh.
And it's that unbecoming. So it's just her name is Moni, but she has she's a therapist and stuff like that. But she has this group anyway. But she talks about just like honoring the person that you are at like today at this moment. You know what I mean? Like because of we've come so far, like we still have to give honor to that woman. You know what I mean? Or that man or whoever, you know what I mean? We just have to give honor to that. And I think sometimes that, you know, I know for me that when she said it yesterday, I was like, she's so like true. Like she's being honest in someone because I don't honor like the woman that I am today. And I think that's part of like me not like sharing and all that type of stuff too, where it's like, you're not honoring like the Brittany who you are at 38 on March 22nd in 2025. Right. Because like who I am today is not who I was. Like you said, even 8 years ago when I was 30, you know what I mean? Even when I was like 20. So I'm like, you need to start honoring her. Like today, that was like my thought process the whole time. Like today when I was driving, I was like, I was on thinking, and I was like, yeah, like how can you honor her? Like what does that even look like? You know what I'm saying? Like why haven't you honored her? You know what I mean? Within this time, like, so I think that's something major. Yeah. Like we all need to honor like ourselves. You know what I mean? I think we should take that on. Like just honor like who you are at this moment. Because I'm definitely one of those I'm a timeline person. So I'm like, oh God, you 38, you don't have this, and this.
Listen,
or, you know, like
losing everything that I thought I like did right helped me to stop worrying about timelines. Because I'm thinking like, okay, I went to high school, I graduated top of my class, I went to Howard, got great grades, got the job after I graduated, met the man, got engaged, got married, had the baby, and then lost the baby, lost the husband, lost the job. Like, so it's like I did everything society told me to do. I followed the timeline I was supposed to follow. And I still had nothing to show for it. And that I think was kind of like a reminder of God like letting me know like it was like you thought you was running this. Like you thought that you could set up how it was gonna go and it was gonna be the way you wanted it. Like it's not your timeline anyway. Yeah. And did you consult me with any of that stuff that you did? And it's just like you can get off my back though.
But you know, it reminds you know the story of Job.
That's my podcast. Okay. It's based off that story.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So when you just said that, I was like, wow. I'm like, that's like Job, like Job.
So I have a podcast called the Millennial Job Podcast.
Oh, wow. We gotta. Why we tap into it? Come on.
Make sure y'all tune everything that it's streaming on.
Yes.
Make sure y'all tune in.
I can get on Apple because I'm like I am now on social media, y'all.
So yeah, I actually only did one season.
So what?
And then you know my plan is to restart back up, and you know this little vibe got me wanting to do a video because the first season is all audio. Okay. But it's stories of me sharing the losses that I've been through. We discuss all things grief, trauma, loss, but also joy, victory, and healing. Yes. So I share my story of how I experienced it, and then I interview someone else who experienced that same type of loss. And then I share ways that I healed from it. They share ways that they healed from it. And then, how we're able to fare to this day. And each episode is about the different type of loss, like loss of a child, loss of a spouse, loss of a pet, all of these things. And it's just a testament. Like, I'm so grateful that there was a story that I could find that was representation of me. Like, I'm so grateful that God thought enough of me to put a story that I could look to and be like, okay, God, I saw you do it there. Yeah. So I know you'll do it for me too. That's really what, the premise of creating a podcast was. That was the immediately thought, like, and it's like crazy because my name is like Mecaela Janae. My social media is the MJ Experience, the Millennial Job. It's like God was just setting it all up.
Yes.
Like, orchestrated.
Like, again, because it was never my timeline. It was his. He had a message message that he wanted me to get out, that he put in me that needed to get out, and was setting the stage for the platform the entire time.
I know that's right.
So,
yes. And I want to circle back to what Brittany was saying about honoring herself, right? It made me think of the conversation that we were having prior to this, when we spoke, when you were speaking of, losing your husband, or just even losing somebody in general. And it's like you focus only on the fact of they passed or they're no longer here. And it's like, well, what about the things that they did before, the good things that they did, the times that we had together, the memories, right? So honoring in them in those ways too, and showing up for them in those ways. And that is very important and very key, not just with ourselves, but even for our loved ones that we do lose as well.
So I was actually in a Landmark program when my husband passed away. So shout out Landmark.
Shout out Landmark. Right?
Landmark.
I need to revisit, girl.
We all need to revisit the forum, okay?
Yes, I definitely do.
Yes.
But I was in the introduction leader program.
Okay.
And honestly, that was the best place that I could have been when my husband passed away, just because it got me to understand what was so and what was the story. And it was like, what was so was that my husband passed away. The story was the emotions, the feelings, what happened. He was on his way to pick me up. If he wasn't coming to get me, then, it wouldn't have happened. Most people live in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I understood that I didn't have to choose that, I could just choose that it happened, he passed away. I still feel the emotions, I still feel the feelings, I still feel all of those things. But it was in the program that I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was just struggling with celebrating death anniversaries and things like that, and going to the place where the accident was and making that a thing. And they were like, you're spending a lot of time on his death. What about all the other amazing times that he had? And that's when it clicked for me, and I was just like, okay, if you make someone's death the biggest part of their life, you're not honoring the entire life that they lived, no matter how long it was. Because they came into the world and they did something more than just die. So yeah, just honoring now, instead of making death anniversaries, the biggest thing, it's things that they did, or sayings that they said, clothes they used to wear, honoring somebody and oh, I'm gonna put this on today because they would have wore something like this, just doing different things to honor them. And then in turn you end up honoring yourself, because you're helping yourself cope with the loss that you're dealing with in a way that is not laying in the bed, because laying in the bed and crying feels good, and the aftermath of that has you feeling bad. So it's what else could I choose that makes me feel good, that's not gonna have me feeling bad in the end? Right.
So, yeah, I love that so much. And even still, hearing a Landmark come up again, right? The one thing that people would get annoyed with is when I'd be like, you're creating a story.
Listen.
You're creating a story. And they'd be like,
that's that vicious cycle. That's that vicious cycle. That's a racket.
Nobody liked hearing
But
it.
it's so real, though. I'm so grateful for the foundation of Landmark. Even dealing with other situations. It's things that are not even lost, things that are not big. Right. I misplaced my keys, and it's I'm going through this whole, it's stop. What's so is the last place you had the keys was here. Right. So it definitely helps. And I think that the biggest part of my healing for the loss of my husband was registered for the Landmark when he passed away. So he never got to do it. But I lived with his sister, and they honor her taking it in his place. Wow. So we were able to help each other heal with the foundation of Landmark, and it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Because my husband and I raised my nephew, which is his sister's child. And then once my husband passed away, she came back, and we were co-parenting. And we used to all laugh and joke and say, sometimes we feel like we were supposed to be together. And not like that, but just co-parenting the kid. And he was able to live such a life that wasn't impacted because of my husband's loss, because we had Landmark, that he would not have had if we didn't. Because the two most important women in my husband's life, his sister and his wife, are gone, and now we have to raise a child that's looking up at so it just made everything so much better, and I'm just so grateful for Landmark.
Oh my goodness, that's
if you're watching
amazing.
This, you need to go through Landmark.
Yes, that's amazing. It definitely helps you to separate the facts Like, just deal with the facts of the situation and not the emotions or what you think is going on in this situation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, landmark is definitely eye-opening. Like, you know, it teaches you, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. You know, that's that. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. Trust and believe. But yes, it's definitely eye-opening. I think when I took landmark, I think I was like, that started my shadow work, to be honest. Like, when I took landmark, that really started. After that, it was like, okay, I got it. Okay, cool. I'm moving forward. And then it just was like, I just was getting beat up by shadow work. Like, I was like, yo.
It was like, enough.
Yeah. So it was like, I'm like, made it over the mountain. But then it was just like, now you going into the valley. Like, with just dark.
How did you all hear about him?
Herbalife.
Okay.
Herbalife, yeah.
Herbalife. Yep.
My
We was all
mentor
introduced to-
again.
Just so y'all know, that's Dawn off to the side, y'all.
No, actually, my best friend Denise took landmark first.
Okay.
Y'all know Nisi.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So she took landmark first, and she was like, "You should do it," and I was like, "No." Like, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Like, and she ain't pushed me on it. She, you know, it wasn't no hard feelings. It just was what it was. And then, you know, Chef again, when I asked her to be my mentor, she was like, "If I'm gonna mentor you, you got to do landmark."
Wow.
So I was like, "Well then, guess I'm going to landmark."
And that's crazy because
but
Chef is the reason I took landmark as well too.
Yeah. So you
But
know,
she ain't
like,
pressure. Like, nobody pressure. Like, I did the introduction at her house when she was having it at her house. But after I was like, I was like that too. I was like that for like, I think maybe 3 or 4 years. It's just like, you need a landmark. I'm like, whatever. You need a landmark.
Right.
Whatever.
and I think because I wanted her to mentor me so
Yeah.
bad that I was just willing to do whatever she told me to do.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, let me just do it. And I always, you know, I credit Chef for getting me into landmark, but I always have to go back and recognize my best friend because she asked me first.
Yes.
And you know, me being stuck in my ways and me not, you know, wanting to do what it was that she asked me to do, I didn't do it. But now our relationship is so rich because we both have that foundation.
Yes.
Like, she's just such a special friend. Like, honestly, I can start crying right now when I think about her because, like, I just love that girl so much. But she has empowered me to grow in so many ways just by challenging my thinking. Like, asking me a question, like, because I used to be the girl that, like, tone crazy, like, and I'm thinking I'm talking to you fine, but you feeling like, why are you verbally attacking me? And she would just ask me like, well, why are you talking to me like that? And I have to be like, I don't know why I'm talking, like, I don't know, like, she like, and never made me wrong for it, never, but just asking me questions that was just always thought-provoking. And like, even now, if either of us does something that the other one don't like, we just say it like, friend, I didn't like that. And it's like, we're able to have conversations. It's like, okay, well, what about it didn't you like? Okay, well, maybe next time I won't say something like that, you know. Maybe next time if you're dealing with this, I'll ask the question differently. And it's just, I've never had that type of friendship that has a level of accountability that we have. And I have to give it to Landmark.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
That's really, really dope.
Sure. And I think that's what it's about. I think I was like, you know, like, I know when me and Cook, we haven't spoken in a long time. I don't know what's going on, but I think we just, in like, you know, life is like,
Seasons.
you know, seasons or whatever. But I know, like, we used to talk about all the time, and I used to be like, Cook, you have to have the uncomfortable conversations with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm like, listen, we have to have an uncomfortable conversation, or I'm about to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody. But I'm like, that's something that I value that we can have uncomfortable conversations, because at the end of the day, it's allowing us to be very transparent, very honest with each other, and vulnerable. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, now how can we move on and grow from this?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we cherish this relationship, and I'm talking about, you know, like, all relationships. Even like with my daughter, I'm like, ugh. But I cherish that, you know what I mean? Like, having those uncomfortable conversations. Like, before, she was like, why are you being so rude? And I'm like, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, but I can understand where she's coming from. You get what I'm saying? So, but allowing people to have those uncomfortable conversations and being able to receive what they're saying is just, like you said, that's a relationship that is rich. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So,
Because otherwise, it's just all ego.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, not wanting to listen to what somebody else is saying. is ego. Feeling like you always right is ego. Feeling like you got the best answer, the right answer. So that's all it is ego.
Yeah.
And once you are able to like set that aside and realize no one's attacking you, like I'm actually bringing this to you because I love you. Like I actually want more for you. I want better for you. It's not, I'm not coming at you. Once you understand that, it's like, please tell me when I'm wrong. Like, love on me a little bit more. Like, that's like, you love me enough to.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. It makes you value those type of relationships way more opposed to the surface level relationships where people may not be exposed to those things or having those uncomfortable conversations. And not to keep harboring on Landmark, but Landmark forced us to do that.
Yeah.
I remember one of the homework assignments was you had to leave out to go on lunch with people that you didn't know, right? And then come back and make a phone call to somebody in your family or a friend that you knew you needed to have an uncomfortable conversation with, but you were holding off on doing it for so long. And even to think about it now to this day, sometimes, for instance, I've talked about this before too. My father, sometimes, for instance, before I used to dread it and then I got in the habit of it. But now sometimes I feel like where the place that I'm at now is there's not much that I have to say. And it's not a wrong thing. It's not like a bad thing, right? But sometimes it's like I've said what I needed to say and or you've said what you needed to say. But at the end of the day, I still love you. And even I lost my brother last year. And me and my dad had a falling out after that, right? And we did not speak for months at all, months. But last month was like right before Ramadan was his birthday, right? And he sent me, I knew he wanted me to he just wanted that snippet of she's like, I still loved him. So he sent me, I had texted him and told him happy birthday. And then he sent me a card of edible arrangement that I ordered for him back in 2016. And he turned it over and sent me a picture with the note said. And I was just like, I love you, Dad. I always love you. That'll never change. And he was like, I love you too. And I'm so proud of you. And that meant a lot to me. And it was not much had to be said. It was just that understanding right there, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like he's growing, you know what I mean? His own little way. People are just people. And I think people are like you said, there's everybody's going through their own seasons, and especially with us who've been, and not even so even outside of Landmark, even if you never took Landmark, but anybody that's emotionally intelligent and aware of self, and you've been on that journey,
right?
You know what I mean? It's like you said, I think for me, I've been the same way I've been for the last, I'm going to say 30 years, because I've been introduced to Herbalife and Landmark for the last 8. So within those 30 years, it's a lot of stuff that it's I still have to kind of we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. And I think people who are not emotionally intelligent or not emotionally aware that don't know about Landmark, and they're older, they have a lot of years of that, whatever they're going through, and how they are, or how they have dealt with what they're dealing with. And it might not be the most healthiest, it might not be the most productive, it might not even be the most nicest way, you know what I mean? But it's just people are still going through whatever they're going through. And I think that we just have to just give grace. Sometimes we don't have to accept it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big firm. I don't have to accept what you got going on.
Right.
But
no,
I'll still, seriously, but I'll still give you grace. You get what I'm saying? Because we're all struggling in some shape or form, a way of, trying to be better. And even what does that even look like? Because we can want to be better, you know what I mean, all the time in every aspect of life. But it's one thing to know, okay, I know what this looks like. You know what I mean? Because now I know what this looks like. I know what it takes to get there. I just have to now just implement and
take the steps to get there.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just that's a whole nother different ball game. If it makes sense.
But then you also got to think knowing the steps is even half of the battle, because it's what resources do you have?
Right.
Because you can know what it takes, but if I don't have the resources to actually do it, then it's just and that's going back to what you said, we got to remember that everybody is dealing with what they're dealing with the knowledge and capabilities that they have at the moment. So it's like they may not have been well equipped to handle something then, but they can handle that conversation now.
Right.
So it just, like you said, goes back to grace. And I think that also has helped me give myself grace on my healing journey. Because I'm just like, I can't expect me to have all the answers all the time.
Right.
Because if I did, then I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
So, just understanding like, okay, you moved that way because you only had this amount of knowledge. Now you have this amount of knowledge and you're moving this way, and you're still not even where you're gonna be. So like, it's okay if you don't get it all right now, because as long as you're committed to growth, there'll be growth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Love it.
I love that. I love that so much. So we spoke about PD because Landmark is basically personal development.
Right.
So what are some of the people or the books that you read that has helped you in your journey?
Okay. So I just in January got finished reading The Year Yes.
I was just about to say that, but like, I'm using it. I know that you read it.
I know you read Year Yes.
Which is an amazing book.
Literally changed my life.
Yes.
Just being open to new and fun and, things that I never would have thought that I could do. Just exposing myself to that. So I definitely say that. 5 Love Languages, because that is more than just for romantic relationships. But then also the 5 Apology Languages.
Oh, that's something new. Write that down. We gotta put it in. We'll get it later.
Yeah, 5 apology languages. Okay.
Yeah, because everybody don't apologize the same way. So
I need to read that. Yeah, we on it.
I get that, because some people, it's hard for them to even say.
Some people just say sorry, and that's what they mean that they're sorry. Some people will accept just sorry. Some people needs to see change for the sorry. Some people needs to see your combination of the both. So that then also The Mastery of Love. It's also a book called I just read it, Love Works.
Okay.
And it's basically, all of those books are just about leading with love. How everything that you do it with love. The intention will always come across pure. It'll always come across it's like, do you want to do things for the bottom line to get it done, or do you want to leave a lasting impact? You know how they always say, like, people don't care what you know until they know how you care.
Right.
So just leading with love and things like that. Because I've always had issues with communication, because my mission is to communicate. So of course the enemy is going to throw things in my path to not be able to communicate, because then I can't communicate the message that God wanted me to communicate. Right. So it's always been tone for me. It's always been too aggressive. It's always been rough around the edges. It's always been tough love.
I don't get that from you.
Girl, that's because you got this version of me. But I've had so many people around me who just like, I that's just the way I was. I grew up with all boys. My mom was in the army, so she was rough. Like, she treated us like we was soldiers. And like, she grew up, with a single mom. Well, not a single mom by choice, but like my mom's dad died when she was 2. So she grew up only knowing her mom to raise her, and like, she just had this women are supposed to be strong mentality. And I learned strength, the Army's version of strength, not the way that I, right. I'm not gonna say should have been taught, but the way I could have been taught.
Right.
So, right now, in all things that are targeting me to like slow down, have more patience, love a little more, think before I speak, care about how that person feels first before I like put myself in their shoes. Those are typically the things that work for me. I'm very big on videos. So I'll YouTube search something up with the quickness, like how to give more grace. And just watch a whole bunch of different videos and then take what I take. I treat it like a buffet and then take what I take from it. But there isn't any specific thing other than just reading the word.
Yeah.
Because like that's the that's the instruction. Like
Yeah.
if I want anything to tell me how I'm supposed to live, like that's just what I'm going to do.
Right.
And it's been a struggle. Like I had to realize that I made fitness an idol. And I had to pray and like ask God, like, help me stop making fitness an idol. And because of that, like, you know,
what you mean by that? Not to cut you off.
so an idol is anything that you put before.
No, I know what idol is.
So like so like it's anything that you put before you would put God. So like I would wake up early to go work out, but I couldn't wake up early to read my word.
Okay.
Like I would,
Maybe I should ask that. Maybe I should ask like, what did that look like?
yeah. So like I like or I could, you know, every day, you know, post on social media that, you know, I'm trying to get clients, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, but I can't. Like I'm hearing God tell me talk to this person. You have a message for this person, but I'm like, I don't want to talk to this person. Like, you know, I'm getting uncomfortable in ways that I wouldn't get uncomfortable for God. So, you know, because of that, like my results, like my whole focus around fitness changed. And now I'm doing it. My fitness journey is honoring my temple because that's the way God created me to.
Right.
Not because I'm doing it out of vanity,
Right.
or because I want to look good, or because I want somebody to look like I look, you know, to think that I look good, you know. So just like always going back to that is really what's helping me right now in this season. In the beginning, it was, you know, whatever was popular, you know, reading those things. But I always knew that like, when I need to go back to is just the word, and it always grounds me. It always helps me get back to where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. I love that.
Yes. How old are you, if you mind me asking?
I just turned 35 last Saturday.
Okay.
I'm 35 in 1 week.
Okay.
Period. Yes.
Hollering, yes. Okay.
I see your outfit. I said, okay, yes, I loved it, and it's just a glow on you because even I've been following Kay forever, and mind you, Kay is one of the best hugs ever. Every time I see her, she just always has embraced me. But even like seeing your story over the years, right, and everything that you've gone through, like that's something that has always like inspired me. And it's like, wow, she still shows up. She still shows up, and not just for yourself, but people outside of yourself. I think that's amazing because you carry it well.
Thank you.
Very, very well.
That it's not me carrying it. Let's just put. I'm not even gonna take that credit. It ain't me carrying it. No, but honestly, it's because, like I said, I saw representation of myself in the story of Job. Yeah. Like I already know Job was restored.
Right.
So you're not about to tell me I'm not going to be restored. Like
right.
just like you can't tell me I'm not going to be restored because I know.
And the thing about in Job, so how long has it been since you've like lost? I think what, like 5 years? 5 year span now?
No, since
you said 2000.
8 years, 2017.
8 years. Okay. And Job suffered for like 18 years. Yeah, like he suffered like for 18 years with like his leprosy and all that type of stuff. So yeah, he definitely was restored.
And you know what's crazy? Because I used to always be like, I don't like this is how I like knew that God has handled my life, because I lost my child. 18 months later, I lost my husband. 18 months later, I lost my brother. Like 18 months later, I was cured of breast cancer. So it's like that number 18 always, and I was like, Lord, what the? And then until I started reading the story, and I'm like,
it's a really good story. It's a deep story though. It's a really good story.
So it's like, you know, I lost everything. I had sickness in my body and all of that, but I have representation that I'm going to make it on the other side. So I have to just live every day believing that I'm going to make it on the other side. And, you know, things are just like right now, life is great. Life is good right now. And I'm just grateful. And, you know, you can always tell when you're on the right path because people start hating you for no reason. Like my husband's family, like beside like his sister and my nieces and like they're still good, but like the rest of his family, like they started this hate train for me. Because I guess they can't understand why I'm happy and why I'm living the life that like they expected me to still be like sad and down and out, and it's just like you don't want better from me, like you don't, like I still miss him. I still have moments where, you know, and even my current partner honors that because he understands that I didn't lose my husband because I got a divorce.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask you that too. I didn't want to be like too invasive. I'm like, girl, she got her ring on, so she might be dating.
No, I am dating. currently. It's actually the first guy that I dated after my husband. It was like a right person, wrong time situation. It couldn't have worked then. But now it's amazing. He understands where I've been, where I'm coming in. Even when I was like explaining to him that they was on the hate train, and he was like, don't they know that he would have wanted you to be happy? Like, why? So I just feel so supported in that. It's been December will be 7 years that my husband passed away. And I just feel like, 7 is a number of completion. Like this year, now I'm in a relationship where I feel fulfilled. And it's like, God is just showing me little winks. Like,
and it's funny that you said that, not to cut you off, because I was like, I was going to say like, because like you said in the story of Job, he was restored. So I was like, and I was going to say like he replaces, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't know that you were dating. But look at that. No, seriously, because like words have meaning, and I don't want to offend. You know what I mean? Like I said, like I don't know, like I don't know your, y'all don't know your story,
right?
But I did not want to say it. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what, God is going to like replace him with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you're dating, so that's good.
Yeah. I was like, this man probably gonna be my husband again.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you think about like, and you literally read the story of Job, like he was restored even like with his family. You know what I'm saying? His wife wasn't taken, but his children were, his wealth was, like everything was stripped from him.
And it's so crazy because like me and my mom have always had a rocky relationship growing up, and even right now me and her are like relationship is turning.
Yes.
So it's just like things that I counted as losses. They weren't actual losses, but I counted as losses. Even those things are being restored.
Yeah.
So it's just like faithfulness and me just understanding. I was having a conversation with Ashley the other day, and she was just like, how do you stay on the journey knowing that, maybe the people closest to you are not on the same journey as you. They're not doing the same thing. And I'm like, leading with love. Loving you enough that maybe me being on my journey will inspire you to be better on yours.
Yes.
I don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in. Like, I can't condemn you for doing what you're doing or how you're doing it. Like, I just know that my job is to give glory. So, I just do that. And if it inspires you to want to be better, cool. If it don't, cool. I guess.
Right.
She's like, I'm still not going to hate you. I love that though. But even what you were saying, like, where the space that you're in now and the hate train that it created, right? I was going to say, Britt is always somebody to remind me about this, but that's just your light. That's just your light. And sometimes that light can be too blinding for others who are comfortable and in a space that they haven't came out of that darkness yet. That light is so blinding for them that they can't really handle it, when they see it. And it's not for you to dumb yourself down or dim your light. Just shine it even brighter. And like you said, eventually by you leading with love, like eventually they can't stay in that negative space forever. Like eventually they're going to have to come around, especially if you continue being who you've always been.
Right.
So I commend you for that, because I know how hard that can be, especially with it being so close to home.
Yeah, girl, my initial reaction was ready to be the old me. Like, what? But I'm like, what is that going to solve?
Right.
Like, it's not going to change nothing. Like, now I'm altering myself internally because you alter internally. Like, that don't even make sense.
Right.
Like, now we both upset.
Right. For no reason.
And it goes back to like understanding that people grieve differently. You know what I mean? And just like, because even like in my family, like that was something that I heard like the whole time, like in the transition of my mom, like everybody grieves differently. And I'm like, I'm not faulting you. I'm not even talking about how you grieve it.
Right.
Like, so why am I constantly hearing this? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that was something that was just like constantly like people grieve differently. And I'm like, that's understood. But we have something that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a job that we have to do. We have to honor our mother in this process. So that's fine, but we still have a job to do. You know what I mean?
No,
so
sure.
so it's just like, I definitely was like, yes, we're going to grieve. And that's why I said, like, I felt that peace. I'm so grateful for it. I'm telling you, it was like the most, I don't know what it was, but I'm saying it was peace in the midst of chaos. Yes. And I think even with your family, even with his side of the family, like I said, they're just grieving in their own way. You know what I mean? And they're just probably like, well, wow, she just still glowing, just still going through life, or and just maybe now she with somebody else, and how does that work? And it's just like you said, like I have to honor him, and he will want he would want me to be happy. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm still grieving.
Right.
Even being with somebody new. How about he's helping me on my grieving journey. Right. Because it's I believe it's 7. I think it's 7 stages of grief, I believe, because I think it's like 7 stages of death or something like that. Yeah. I forget. But even within those, and then you got to think about that too. Like every day, you might be in 2 today, then you're at 5, tomorrow, then you're back at 1, you know what I'm saying, on Friday.
Right.
Like it's all these different stages of grief. So it's like how they don't know like which stage of grief that you're in. You know what I mean?
And they think because I'm such an oversharer that because I don't share when I wake up crying, that I don't wake up and cry.
Right.
You know, like
Exactly.
I'm not performative. Like I share with the mission. I'm intentional when I share.
I like that.
So I'm not gonna just share just to make you feel better about the fact that I'm grieving. Like no, I'm sharing. Like because me getting on social media and crying is not saving nobody. It's not helping nobody. It's not moving nobody closer to their healing. It's just giving you an insight to the fact that I'm still crying. And that don't do nothing for me.
Right.
So, it is what it is. People get upset about the fact that I don't, walk around down and out. But I'm sorry. It's the God in me. I can't.
That's right.
Like,
come on.
I was creating his image.
The sisters.
Very, very.
I'm like, I'm not about to walk around looking sad and down and out for what? Like,
yes. And I think that's a blessing too, that you have a partner that understands it, because you could have it could be completely different on the opposite end, where you could have had a partner that didn't understand it and would have been like, well, that was some years ago. Why can't you get over it?
I've dated people who were jealous of my dead husband.
Wow. But that just shows the work that they need to do too.
And it's like you're upset. Like it's not the same type of love. It will never be the same type of love.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Like that was a part of my life that was supposed to be forever. Like the vow that I took was forever. And so like people don't know. I have to keep going. But I've been through so many losses to understand that people don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to process it with you. The best people are the ones that just sit there with you.
I know that's right.
Like just sit in it with me. I'm not asking you, just sit in it with me. And as time goes on, we figure out together how it goes. And that's what the last few years have been like, me sitting with it, me allowing people to sit with it with me. But mostly like how I started it, just those 3 categories. I use voice notes a lot.
Oh.
So like when I'm driving or if I'm in the shower, my phone be like dripping wet. But I be like, I always have these thoughts and I just speak them into voice note. But then I can always play them back and be like, you sound ridiculous. And it's like,
start doing
it's like, what if I would have went and talked to, what if I would have talked to somebody and shared that with them? They probably been on the other end of the phone like, what? So like,
start doing that because I'm gonna start doing it
because then you can hear yourself and with what you're saying and be able to check yourself too. Like it make me think of my grandfather always used to tell me, look yourself in the mirror when I was younger. And I always said I would be looking in the mirror like I see myself, but I never understood it until I got older and he passed away, that it was like a reality check for me about am I being the person right now that I see in the mirror? So I like that.
Yeah, so then that's how I learned, like, all right, that's probably not something you should ever share with somebody. If you have thoughts like that, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody those.
I'm hollering.
Yeah. But then there's other things that's like you hear back and you like, no, I still feel that way. Like I need to grapple with it. And there's some things that like I feel like if I have to question whether or not I should share it with somebody, I shouldn't share it with somebody. Those are the things that should only go to God. And then there's those other things where I'm just like, don't even play with God like that and waste his time talking about this, because
you already know the answer.
You holding up the prayer line for this. Like, girl, sit down. But yeah, that's really has helped. All of my friends know I don't call and talk about a whole bunch of stuff no more. And it's not because like I don't value you or like your opinion. It's just that sometimes I just got to figure things out. I need to prove to myself that I could work things out. You know, because the word says you got to work out your own salvation. So like here I am asking you every single time. That ain't me working it out. That's you working it out for me. And now at the end of the day, I don't even know who I believe, what I like, you know, what I like, because I'm listening to what somebody else wants me to do. So yeah, you know,
based off their own opinion, based upon how they might feel, or even how they might like react or handle that situation, which may not be how you would.
That's not even alignment with who you are. Right. Now you operating in something that you don't even know how to continue. You do the first part, ministry, but you don't know how to follow up with the second part because you don't even.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! This conversation, we say it all the time, but it was so needed.
It was
so needed. Clock that, okay? Because
oh no. There we go.
Yes.
Sorry, y'all.
That was so needed because it always goes in alignment with something that we could be going through in our own journeys, right? And I know it's definitely in alignment with whoever is viewing this as well, too. So before we close out, the last question I want to ask is, what is something that you know now that you wish you would have like known before as the old version of yourself that you could share as an encouragement to the guests that are watching?
It's all gonna work out.
Let it all work out.
I'm on voice.
I think I spent so much time stressing and worrying and stressing and worrying about things that I have absolutely no control over anyway. Like you talked about earlier, like just wasting time stressing when I could have been forward in the movement, forward in the growth, in so many different areas of my life. And then also, so that one, it'll all work out. But then also, like, you're fine. Like, you're okay. You're enough. Like, you don't have to do anything else to try and be better, to be like anybody else. Yes. Like, you are okay. And even now, like, I'm back to, like, doing my gratefuls and affirmations on social media every day. And people are like, really like, you ain't say your affirmations and gratefuls yet. Where you at? And I be laying in the bed like, and I gotta get up and get ready. But like, I just feel differently, affirming that I'm okay. Like, I'm perfect exactly the way I am. Yes. And if I choose to get better, that's amazing. Yes. But I'm perfect already. Like I'm like honoring myself. Right. Like I'm already good. Yes. Like you're okay. You're fine. Like you don't need nobody else to validate you, to make you feel better, because it's not about, it's about who you are, but it's also about whose you are. And I know that I'm a daughter of the King. So it's no way that I'm not good. So
come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I love that. I love that. Brenda found a. That's the one. She loved this soundboard, y'all.
No, I really just thank y'all for giving me the platform to share.
Thank you for agreeing to share this space with us.
I need to do this more. I need to do this more often.
I was so nervous, but I was trying to think along the lines, and you came across my timeline. I was like, oh my goodness! And so I was nervous because I didn't know if you had shared before your story, or if you would even be open to sharing.
Oh,
so
yes, thank you so much.
I'm super grateful because, like I said, I didn't know your story, and very inspirational. Like I said, I learned, like, you know what I mean? Like, look, like I said, I knew about the breast cancer, but I didn't know about everything else. And if I did, it probably just passed by because we don't, you know what I mean? Have like you know, a lot of interaction. But I'm super, super grateful for you to be here today. You've definitely helped me, especially in the season that I'm in, with just that sharing and this shit that just, you know, being authentic, being transparent, being vulnerable, and just walking in with your posture. So I'm only saying that because I was at this event yesterday, and this older lady was saying that she was like, you know, when you walk into the room, she was like, you know, you belong here, and you know, with your confidence and everything. And then she was like, because it was like the 3 Ps, but the one that stood out was she talked about was posture. And sometimes that we can, and I feel like, and I was telling her, I was like, I feel like I'm kind of like bent over because of not knowing that I don't know who I am or whose I am, but at the same time, I'm just not there yet of ready to just like honor who I am, if that makes sense. So, but I love that about you because like your posture is straight, if that makes sense. So yeah, but yeah, so I definitely, I'm super grateful. And like I said, this was something, and not only that, but you taught us and taught me some new things that I could take with me and apply in the season that I am in, which is a turbulent season. So I'm super grateful. For you. Yes,
Thank you,
super grateful. Like now I gotta go back to the stories of prophets and read Job. Even though I know the story of Job, but when you it's a lot of other things that you can learn inside of the story. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
So many things, like feeling like things are happening to you because you're a bad person, because you don't deserve goodness.
Yes.
Learning how like God allows things to happen to show you like your strength.
Yes.
Or even to take away the strength that you think you got so that you rely on Him. Like it's so much that you can learn in there. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm super, super grateful for that because it brings it back full circle to the source, which is God.
Yes,
so
yes. And it's always that reminder to, like, as humans, we naturally question, even though we shouldn't question why God, right? And even just hearing you reference Job, and when you guys brought up the stories earlier, my grandmother used to have a book. It was like My Bible Stories. And one of the stories that I always loved to read or have her to read to me before I went to bed was the story of Job. So it just...
Come on, confirmation.
That right there was a reminder. I'm getting like chills right now just even thinking about it. That right there was a reminder, and I'm grateful. I'm just super grateful that you agreed to share this space with us, that you were here. Thank you. This is your ministry, and continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And where can we listen to your podcast? Because I need that.
Yes.
Drop it.
So it's called the Millennial Joe Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on... What's the other one? Spotify.
Okay.
We only got one season, but this little setup got me wanting to come back with video.
Period.
Just to share. There's so many more stories that I have that I could share about loss.
Yes.
Even since then. But that first season details the loss of my child, the loss of my husband, the loss of my brother, the loss of my dog, the loss of my corporate job, and the loss of my breasts. Oh, also the loss of joy. Okay. And like how that whole process of like, you know, just losing my inner joy. So you get to hear stories from me, stories from other people who have been through those situations as well, how we've overcome. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yes. Make sure y'all tune in to the Millennial Joe podcast show. All right. Yes, support our girl. And how can they, if they wanted to? So my social media is the MJ Experience on everything. Yes. The MJ Experience, not like the game, but like the Mecaela Janae Experience. Period.
And that's with the regular word EX Experience. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yes, make sure y'all follow her, y'all, okay? With that being said, we thank y'all for tuning in with us for another conversation on Tribe Talk Tuesdays, and we will catch y'all next week.
Yes.